Hello, hello, loves. Welcome. Let me pin a comment. Hello, hello. Pinning a comment. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, guys. I'm so excited that you're here. This is going to be a good chat. I'm excited. Hi, loves. I see you joining. Let's light a candle together while we wait for everybody to jump on, shall we? Let's do this thing. I have the big, I call it the galaxy candle. It's like a huge candle. Everything in one. So if you're already here, take a moment and just take a breath, light a candle with me. Let's set an intention. Set an intention for tonight. If there's anything that you are looking to get clarity on, answers on, downloads about, anything that you need to bring into the knowingness of what's coming up for you, set that intention now, together with anything else. If there's anything else that you want to shift, right? And we're going to just talk through things. And when we set strong intentions, we learn that we can actually shift anything, okay, as we do other things. So take a moment and just mean it. Actually mean it. I'm going to light some incense and just clear the space. Here we go. And then we're going to talk about a lot of things. So let's take a breath. We have much to talk about. Happy energy. All right, loves. Now that the incense is set, let's do this. Okay, you ready? Ciao dall'Italia. We have Italians. Yeah, you guys are already getting me to speak Italian. Look at that. Amazing, amazing, amazing. I'm excited. So ciao to all the Italians. We're going to do this. This is a project that's coming up. So let's get our breath work on, okay? If you're in a position, so first of all, now that more of you are starting to jump on, let me say this. Welcome to the Moon Babes Monday Night Live. This is Sonia G. We're going to have a cosmic chat. We're going to talk about kids. We're going to talk about what to do with children while all of these things are happening in our world right now. We're going to talk about what's happening with our DNA. We're going to talk about the astral planes and the energy that's blasting in. So we have much to talk about, and let's get a breath and let's get connected so that this information can actually ground, okay? So if you're in a position where you can actually close your eyes, rub your hands together, close your eyes, take a deep breath in. If not, do it with your eyes open and exhale. Inhale again one more time. Hold the breath. Exhale. Last inhale. Hold the breath in your heart. Connect to your heartbeat, and then exhale, go down, connect with the earth, push your breath, your awareness, your energy down, all the way down through the layers of the earth, connecting to the heartbeat of Mother Earth, the heartbeat of the planet, connecting with love, support, magic, amazingness, and the cycles of life. This is very important that we do this during this time, that we feel supported by the earth. Inhale that love and support back up, all the way up to your heart. And now you're connected heart to heart. And this is so important that we do this, because if you do, I always say there's so many things that we can do every day, but when you do this every day, you actually are syncing with the rhythms of the earth, right? Doesn't that feel better? It's just a few breaths. But if you do that every day, then you're like in this lymphatic support of exchange with Mother Earth. And then you feel like your ground is being supported, like your next step ahead, right? So when there's uncertainty, when there's things that we don't know which direction, we want to go on, it's always about taking the next best step, right? And the supported step and the step that is on path, because sometimes in moments like right now, it's hard to see 10 steps ahead, but we can always, always, always know the next best thing to do, right? And so when we're in sync We can't go wrong. So do that. It's so good to do that. Okay, so you guys can, welcome to everybody that's joining. You guys can totally ask me questions as we go along. There's a lot of things that are happening in our energy right now. If you look at the Schumann resonance frequency, it has not stayed still. Right now, today, we're at 68 hertz, which is another spike, which is a pretty good spike. And this means that the magnetic field of the Earth is being affected by everything that's happening in the cosmos and the energy of everything in the astral planes. And the magnetic field of the Earth affects our magnetic field, okay? We all have a magnetic field, which is our aura, our energy field around us. So when the magnetic field of the planet is buzzing and vibing, we're like, la, 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 la. And it feels like, that's where it feels like heart palpitations and a lot of pressure and tiredness and things that, like the pressure headaches and the third eye headaches, that kind of stuff. It doesn't have to feel that way if you are vibing at that same frequency. So the key is always to get yourself in a position where your aura, your energy is vibrating as high as what's happening around you so that it doesn't affect you, right? And so with that, it's the conversation of the chakra pillar. You guys have heard me talking about this. I've done some mini trainings that are now on YouTube about it. And of course, I teach you all about it in my courses too. So remember, let's just put a little side note. If you still are working with your separate chakras, quit that, okay? That's done. That is an old paradigm for separation. And you can go back to my YouTube and listen to that. There's a video titled that. You want to work with a unified chakra pillar, which is really strong, and it connects you from higher self all the way down to the heart of Mother Earth, where we just went with our breath. Okay, you want to be strong. You want to have like a big light pillar that holds you, where everything is coming into unity, where all of your things are flowing. Okay. And what's happening with that is, as this is actually happening for a lot of people, whether you realize it or not, okay, whether you're aware of it and you're doing it consciously or not, this is happening for everybody. So if you don't know that this is happening and you're not working with it, what happens is all this shit's coming up from the past, okay? And you're like, damn it, why am I having to deal with this shit? Why am I stuck? Like if you feel like you're in the trenches of something that's happening right now, that's because it has to clear. The story will repeat on planet Earth in your life until you learn the lesson, until you cleared it, until you've integrated it, until you can move and elevate beyond it, okay? So the key is, if you haven't done the work, but the work is slamming you right now, right? This light work, so all the chakras are like getting together, which means you have to clear everything. It's like this, from all the chakras: belief system, sexual traumas, ego issues, narcissistic bosses, right? Heart issues. Oh, that's coming up big time right now. We're going to talk about that like in more details. Like speaking up, all of those things coming up, and they're repeating. So, well, not they're repeating. They're coming up in a way that they're so big that you're going to have to hear them. Like you have to deal with the thing. So don't shove it under the rug if it's coming up. Make sure that you deal with it, okay? Because you don't want it coming back and like massive. I don't even know. If you don't deal with it this time, I don't even know how bad it's going to be, because we're going for unity. And so when you're in unity, you can't have those separation things, okay? So just clear that up. Okay, I see a big things coming up. Ciara, I had an accident and got injured over the weekend. I am looking at the pain as an initiation. How do I hold the mental structure of optimal health to minimize suffering and come out of this healthier? Okay, so ask yourself things. First of all, I'm sorry that happened and that you're in pain. Ask yourself things, and I mean it. On the other side of it, okay, look at yourself as observing your life. Why do you think this is, and this is the thing for everyone, okay? This is what I do, like when things happen in my life and I'm like, what? That, like, why would I manifest that, right? So literally go look at yourself, like, and then, like, you know, send out a little observer self turn around, look at your life, look at the situation that just happened, and ask, why would my soul want to experience this? What is this teaching me? What is this doing for me, right? So for me, in my personal life, I have had many health challenges that I had to overcome. And looking back, the things that I learned were how to manage my body, like how to heal my body and how to actually claim my power to heal the body, how to communicate with my cells, especially when, there's not a whole lot that other people on the outside and the doctors, you trust them, but you don't really know what's going on, and you have to deal with that stuff. What can you do? Because then you realize that you are not helpless and you are in charge, right? So you start talking to your cells, you start working with your higher self, you get your angels and your guides, everybody doing the work to speed up your healing. So maybe you will learn how to physically heal in a way that's way more incredible than you thought was ever possible, right? So look at it like, if this was a blessing, what would it teach me? If this was a blessing in disguise, what would I learn from this, right? So kind of like that. So start working with your angels and your guides and ask, right? So look at things that way. And always, 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 for physical pain, work with Archangel Raphael. He has green light and he helps with physical healing. So call him in and he will help you, okay? And then we're gonna send you lots of love. Okay, so, okay, I'm catching up. Tell her, oh my gosh, I can't remember some of your guys's name. Why can I not? I wouldn't say Joy. Love Life 616. She's saying, tell her about your rib sister. It's funny because I can see you. We went through the Goddess on Mission course together. So why can I not think of your name? Okay, I did. I dislocated 2 ribs recently that ended up being a million other ribs and a million other things. And this was the true story. And some of my moon babes were actually here at the house. And so they saw it and they witnessed it. And I was on the floor and I couldn't walk. And I was like, why? Right? Why is this happening for me? And then I was pushed to believe. Joyce, oh my gosh, Joyce, thank you. Thank you. We're talking about Joyce. Joyce is saying, tell them about your rib. So it happened because of a physical thing. I was moving a couch and I got crushed with a couch in a stairwell. So it was a very physical thing, but why would I manifest that physical thing to have any kind of a situation that was inspiring, uplifting in my life? And the truth of it is, my angels and my guides and my higher self, it was you have to believe. Because I was like, what if I could believe and what if I could heal it like this? What if I could believe that the bone, right? And the whole thing was it was really bad. But I was like, what if I could believe that the bone was healed? And so I did. And I actually had this super strong meditation and it went away. Okay. The pain went away. Everything was healed. And I was like, what the fuck? Really, these are actually real thoughts. And at first I was like, oh my gosh, I did it. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. We are actually capable of healing on that level. But when it happens and you're in pain and when it comes to bones, right, it's kind of a bigger kind of shock that you're holy shit, that really happened. I'm not in pain anymore. And I could see it. And then I started talking about it. And then my mind, and I can't remember how it happened, but this is why sometimes it's hard to talk to people about it unless you're really solid on something. And then I started talking about it and people were like, well, oh my gosh, should you not still get it checked out by a doctor? Are you sure that it's going to heal okay? The doubts, right? And so at first I was like, no, I'm good. I'm totally good. And then the doubt came into my mind and somewhere in my mind I accepted it. And I was like, well, what if my rib heals, incorrectly or something like that? And then it went all to hell and I disbelieved. And then I had to go to my chiropractor and, go that path and then work with him together on healing it. So my big lesson from that was the fact that I believed. And when our belief is that's right, it's kind of like when in the Bible, when Peter walked on water because he saw Jesus do it, right? And Jesus is like, you can do this. And Peter's like, oh my gosh, I can totally do this. And then somewhere one of his cells, because it requires 100%, right? So somewhere one of his cells did not believe that he walking on water was possible. So boom, there he goes down into the water. It's kind of like that. It just takes an ounce of you, one tiny minuscule like cell, to not believe, and then it reverts. So that was a big learning lesson for me. But then I also healed afterwards. I healed miraculously. My chiropractor was like, how did you do this? And how are you already healed? So, we learn and we work with things. And that's the point. A lot of times with physical things, it pushes us beyond our faith. It pushes us beyond belief. It pushes us to heal things that we didn't think were possible that then become possible. So that's like a big, big thing. So similar experiences. I love you guys. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yes, I did. I totally healed it. Well, and it's amazing. And I've healed like so many crazy things. Like I've healed endometriosis. I've healed, I don't even know, fibromyalgia. I've healed so many crazy things. So it really is a function of your belief system. And it's a function of knowing it beyond doubt. And if you can hold that vibration, right? And this is a concept that applies to anything. So it applies to all the things that we're dealing with right now. So it's a very, all across the board. Okay, so switching from health to, let's talk about energy. I mean, it's all related. It's not really like we're switching things, but we are going to talk about like kids. I've had a lot of questions about kids and what's happening as we're merging our chakra pillar, right? So all the adults and a lot of light workers, this is already done. So you're just clearing out like the rest of it. But for the kids that are coming in, especially after 2012, they're coming in with like 5D integrated, right? Because in 2012, it became like Earth emerged in the galaxy, a higher frequency was available, and we moved into this time-space reality, which is different, where time sped up and everyone's heart chakra were now like on time lock bomb, right? Like everybody had to begin to open, and the rules change in the astral plane. We're able to do things as the rules change in the astral planes. When kids come in, they when all of us come in, when spirits incarnate, we go through the sun portal. We get our encodings of who we are and how to function on planet Earth. There are rules, okay? There are rules, like, because you're up there, you're on a star, you're an infinite eternal being, you are like in the rules in the world of the galaxy, right? Roaming free, you're like, sure, I'll take the Earth job mission, let's do it. Let's like incarnate, sounds like a good idea. What do I need to know? Give me like the file, right? Like, where's my briefing? So you get all of those encodings as you're coming in from the portal of the sun. So the rules change. So the kids, after 2012, they got different encodings and different rules to play by, if that makes sense. So they're coming in with like, you don't have to teach them these things. That's why they look at you and they're like, Mom, Dad, like, what the hell? Or, aunts, uncles, whatever. But anyways, the point is they understand the magic a lot more easily, and it's most important for us to actually not how do I say this, to not hinder it, to not close it, to not squish them, right? Do you remember all the times that when you were little you were told like to not do this, to not talk about that, like all that kind of stuff, right? That was just your imagination. Don't say that shit to your kids. Like, we know better now, right? Ask them about it. Ask them about the things that they're imagining Ask them about the things that they dream about. Ask them about the things that they see, right? Like, just sit there and stare at a white wall and ask them, what do you see? You will be surprised, okay? You will be surprised. So, and this is like the biggest thing, is being able to speak to them beyond your doubts, okay? And ask them, like the same stuff that we talk about in, the astral meditations, the children see that. It's so easy for them. I remember my stepdaughter, when she was younger, she was born in 2008, okay? And in 2010, I met her. And the thing that happened with her is, before she could speak, she didn't speak very young, but before she could speak, her and I could communicate telepathically at a distance. And so I just never put it as a limitation. And I figured, she's such a beautiful little child. Of course, I'm sure she can do this. I'm going to just, talk to her. And it worked. And I always knew what was going on. And when she was crying and she couldn't express herself, we could communicate. So just don't put limitations on the things, right? And just allow your imagination to run wild. What would you have wanted to have as a child? Those are the questions to ask. All sorts of creative things are super important. And, turn off the TV. You guys already know this, but, get outside in nature. Get some crayons. Get some white paper, like all of those kinds of things. So, and know, too, that all of the things that you have already dealt with, so as, we get healed through our things, those genes, they don't pass on. That stuff doesn't pass on. And in addition to the things that we have healed in our life that don't pass on to our children, right? And the genetics and the DNA, they don't pass on. Our children also, the new kids that are coming in, they have such a faster way of switching that. They have such a faster way of overriding it. So our job as adults and as parents, it's really to provide the environment where that's available. That's the biggest thing that you can do, is be a living example of what is possible and what is available. Have an open conversation in your house, okay? And I hope that this is all making sense. Kids actually see adults have been taught. Yeah. So adults have had to relearn. We've had to reopen that stuff back up. So yes. Everyone gets light codes from the sun. They contain information. And that's a really good point, Lamar. And that's what happens all the time. But specifically our encodings for planet Earth it's actually where we come through from them. And as we get more information, like right now we have this DNA activation that's going on, dun, 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 new DNA available to wake up. It comes in through the codes of the sun. That's why it's we feel it, and it's this LATs, the plasma blasts, and they come in through the sun. And remember, the moon shines from the light of the sun, but it's our subconscious. So with the moon, we work through our subconscious. With the sun, we work on it actively. Okay, so that's a difference. Badass man, babe. I love you, Joyce. Healthy Babies Project. Would this be the same with relationships? Yes. Okay, so this is a really good question. Love you, Alpha Dolia. You're so sweet. See you on the flip side. See you in the astral planes. So we are, with relationships, that's coming up. Okay, it's coming up big time. And it's going to hit really big on May 1st. So this is part of the major astral clearing that's happening right now. And this is happening as we upgrade our DNA, as we upgrade and we awaken this new strand. It's actually going to be, I started going back through stuff that I thought that I had healed. Okay. So I'm telling you this to say, don't feel discouraged if you thought you dealt with things and they're coming up. They're coming up energetically through planes of existences and lifetimes. If you're doing the work on a higher level, there are things. There's energy to be brought back from different places. So when it comes to love, when it comes to sexual and love relationships and all of that kind of stuff, but also power relationships, that's going to be the dynamics, right? It's going to be the journey of this Venus retrograde, okay? Right now we're in pre-shadow, which means we're getting a glimpse. That's when I like to do the work. I like to do the work before things hit. So this is why in the Metaphysical Mastermind this week on Thursday, we are clearing through astral planes and planes of existence through time and space, and we're claiming our sovereignty. And what that actually means is you're actually going to go back and clear through, and of course, because I'm teaching things, I do the processes and the things before. So you go back and do the processes that, you go back to moments in time, I should say, and shift and reprogram and get yourself to be whole through those things and those experiences. And sometimes that's a lot to go through, right? Those are things that you maybe just didn't want to deal with, because I know that everybody had a section of time in their 20s or whenever. For me, it was in my 20s where, you know, I wasn't really thinking, hey, I am mixing chakras with you. This is a bad idea. I don't want to take on your genetic blueprint at all. Because that's what happens every time when you actually have a relationship with someone, right? You actually inherit. Do you know this? You inherit their relationship. You inherit their genetic blueprint, right? Their soul's blueprint intermingles with yours. So you can actually pick up shit that's not even your own, that like you don't need to carry, and that all of a sudden it's like running in the background. So there are ways of clearing that out, and I've done a lot of that clearing work through like the relationships and things, you know, when I was younger. But then as you start integrating higher self, you start embodying your soul, there's a higher level of that is needed. And that's where we're at right now. Okay. And I know that a lot of times people ask, are we done with the clearing? You know, like, cause ascension, right? Like those memes that say like ascension is 99.9% clearing. This is true. And now we're on the other side of that, where we're actually integrating. So it's not so much about the clearing, but it's the reconciling, and it's the taking the energy back. Like if there's clearing of that and of those feelings that needs to be done, that has to be done. That has to be looked at. That has to be dealt with. But it's important to take your energy back and your power back. Okay. It's kind of like you don't want to be in like having little puddles of your energy in situations that are trapped in like space-time. I hope this is making sense. Okay, questions. I see you guys. Okay. Time to clean the house, Carrie. Yes. The moon shoots negative ions to the right side of our brain. So yeah, there's a lot of different things, yes, that happen there. Let me finish this conversation. Carrie's excited. You guys are laughing. Exactly. Yes, we're cleaning the house. How do you get rid of that blueprint crap of the others? So you have to do a major clearing. And so you have to like go through and really get to work through the layers of who you are. The fastest way to do it is always in the astral plane. I want to take everybody in the mastermind through this on Thursday, which, by the way, that's why there's a dog party happening in our neighbor's backyard, if you can hear. So, you know, there are things that you can do if you have access to any, which everybody has access to one of my astral meditations, whether or not you're in my mastermind. Of course, I want to have you all in the mastermind, but everybody has to do this work. So go back and find a meditation where we actually go to the Great Central Sun, and then you know, one where we did clearing. If you're in my Sacred Chakras journey, there are clearing meditations in there. There's meditations on my YouTube that are astral, clearing kind of things. Get as close to this, you know, what we're dealing with, and then add your own intentions, customize it, make it your own, okay? Make the resources I have available work for you. This is really important. Like, it's a really big deal. And so to the extent that you can clear that, and that we can clear that before Venus actually goes retrograde in May, May is going to be a much better month, okay? So that's going to be like bliss and love and amazingness, because this is not a time to hold back through any of that stuff. We can't have any more shit that slows us down. Do you guys understand like how important it is that we get rid of like all of our baggage and all of the densities? And it's not even the heavy stuff anymore. It's the next level. It's the integration. It's the healing of our astral body and our physical body and our ethereal body. Like, there's just a lot more happening that goes between dimensions so that we can reconcile with our higher self and step into the 5D physically, instead of, you know, just as we're doing it right now, which is in a state of being. So this is the work that we're doing. Okay, questions. What about energetic cords? Those need to be cut, not cut. Some energetic, very important actually. I'm glad that you asked that. There are some cords, I'm trying to say this in the fastest way possible, in a way that makes sense. Some cords are karmic cords. They cannot be cut. They have to be cleansed. Okay, they have to be cleansed. Like, you may be down here with people that are karmic partners. And so cutting that cord will only make it grow back stronger. So you have to learn to cleanse, like clean up the connection and restore it to like a pure connection. And then there are some cords that do need to be cut. And some cords, you know, hooks and cords and things that need to be cut and just, you know, Archangel Michael chop that, right? Like sort of like, and some things that are karmic lessons. So karmic lessons and things that need to be cleared out of karmic stuff, you can work with Archangel Uriel on. Okay, he's the karmic one, Archangel. But some things that have to do with certain partnerships, they cannot be cut. And so you have to really get to working with your people, meaning your angel and your angels, and understanding how to work through that. But that's a really good question. Okay. Ricardo, how do I get my vision with closed eyes more clear? I see vortex colors in different patterns or dimensions. How do I focus live on it? Okay, so it requires practice. So if you're already seeing things like colors and vortexes and patterns, that's really awesome. Oh, how do you see it? I see vortex. Yeah, so you're starting to see things. So what you want to do, and this is the thing that is very important for everyone, is to not think of your vision in the multidimensional world as something that has to do simply with your eyesight, okay? Your impulses that translate to vision in the astral planes have to actually do with inputs that come from many different ways. It's a multidimensional astral plane, right? It's not just 3D. Like we're used to using senses in a three-dimensional world, which means we see, right? Or we smell or we taste. But imagine if some of those senses were off. Imagine if you were to see like a concert but not hear it. It wouldn't be complete. You wouldn't get the full senses of it, right? Or imagine if, you know, your eyes were closed, but you kind of get the idea of what I'm saying. You have to go in to these experiences and use all of your senses, which then translate to your visuals, okay? And the visuals that you get. So practice, focus, breath, and intention, and you'll get there. And definitely try some of the meditations that I have, the astral projection meditations that I have. A lot of people, that's such an amazing place to double check yourself and the things that you see, or see if you're like staying true to like your senses, because I guide you through what we see and what happens, but I say it after it happens, right? So what happens is a lot of times you will go and see things that are happening, and then I'll say them and you're like, whoa, I see that. Like I'm actually seeing that. And that's how a lot of people get confirmations, and it's really cool because then we all know that we're seeing the same stuff. So it's awesome. Okay. Okay. The physical body cannot enter the fifth dimension. A third density body cannot enter the fifth density dimension. Your soul can. Yes, so this is why we're getting the light body, okay? So this is why the density of the 3D body has to transmute. We're doing insane amounts of work, which is why new DNA has to come online, because we need the DNA that is the link between us and the light body. It's like we have to shed so much of our density to actually bring the form into the 5D. So your soul doesn't enter 5 density. Your soul already is there. So you have to like do this merge, okay? Does that make sense? Okay, you are amazing. Oh God. I am so happy that this is helping. Thank you. You're welcome, loves. Yes, those meditations, astral planes, they're really good. Okay. You're right. Thank you guys. You guys are so awesome. Thank you. Okay. That happened last time with you saying what I saw 3-5 seconds afterwards. You are the truth. Thank you. Little Indiglo. It happens for a lot of people, and it's so good because then you know the places where we go are real places, and the things that you see are real things. And then you learn to trust yourself, and you learn how to do the work. And then you're like, hey, I'm saying stuff that's real, right? So that's the important part, and that's why we do that. A lot of the work that we do now, a lot of the healing, we have to, like, it's almost like part of, you know, meditation. Like a lot of people a few years ago, 10 years ago, were not big. They didn't understand the concept of meditation, right? And now it's like a big ass deal in our world. Like, there's meditations app, there's meditation, everything. Oprah's talking about it. Everybody's talking about it, right? And it's becoming a big deal because everybody understands like, oh, hey, this is necessary. This is needed. This is like oxygen, and we do need to understand these ways. Now it's going to be about astral projection. So you watch 10 to 20 years from now, everybody's going to be like astral projections, right? Like it's just going to be the thing. So it's just that when you start now, you're ahead of the curve a lot. And a lot of people are already doing this stuff because it's just, hopefully that's not going to be that far out. Hopefully by 2030, everyone knows their astral body. Everybody is integrated. In my world, that's my timeline I'm on. All of that stuff is going to happen. So, okay. So we're going to, so there's a lot of things that we can, there's a lot of different ways that we get to experience reality. I see your guys' person projection for higher help. We must find our relative roots in real form. Easy does it. So it depends on Circle 22. So it depends on what works for you, okay? And I'm not saying that the way that I have found to be most efficient for me works for everybody. But what I do know for sure is that everyone has soul family and lineages, okay? They come through bloodlines and they come through different star tribes. So sometimes you'll find someone that really resonates with you. Sometimes you'll find a spiritual teacher that just doesn't resonate with you, right? So maybe you find me and I say a couple of things and you're like, yeah, that was good, right? Or I learned this from her, but I don't feel like I'm resonating like this. And then you find somebody else that you're like, whoa, this is my jam, right? This is like my flow. And somebody else may feel the same way. So a lot of people, they go around, they work with different teachers, and then they come to me and they find me and they're like, oh my gosh, all of a sudden all the words you're saying make sense. So it just really depends. We are, it's all kind of coordinated by our soul groups and our soul fam. And so that's my intention behind everything that I do is, my prayers behind everything that I teach is to, for you guys that will benefit to hear what the things that I say, and for those of you that I can add value with the content and with the information I put up for us to sync up, because this is my calling, right? So I always say, like, take it. If it works for you, take what works, leave what doesn't, consume as much of what I say as it helps you, because this is the purpose of it. So you have to, find what's in alignment and what's not. So definitely. Soul family and friends, it's happening. Yes. So that's definitely happening. So Class by Soul, you're my jam, Sonia. I love you guys. I love you guys so much. You guys are awesome. I saw a question about what was happening on the 25th. So the 25th, we have a movement. I can't remember if it was Pluto. I would have to look on, I have it upstairs. I don't have my calendar, but it's, I think it's Pluto that goes retrograde. It's a planet that goes retrograde that I was like, shit. Because it's one of the planets that has to do with our, it's the crumbling of the structures, right? And so I think it was Pluto, but I can't remember where. I think it's Pluto going retrograde in Capricorn, if I'm remembering right. But don't quote me on that. But there is a huge retrograde that happens where it's like, oh, we're going to see this. So it is very important that you do as much work as possible. But I've been saying this for like a long time. Do as much work as possible, as much as you can right now. It's almost like, those of you that have extra time in quarantine, this is self-healing time. Like, this is like amazing in a sense that it's happening. And, and now they're coming up with like government help and funds and, all sorts of things, which is really nice. So there are benefits to this. Stay on seeing the benefits, okay? There's a lot of shit show happening in the world. Stay in the positive, stay in the light. Ride the wave on the top, okay? And you're gonna get into alignment with your highest timeline, and that's where you want to be, okay? If something presents itself, like lessons to be learned it and move forward, learn it and move forward. It doesn't mean it's an easy period, because growth is fucking uncomfortable, right? Like growth is not easy, you guys, but this is how we're going to grow real fast. And so we learn to evolve. We're not here to be comfortable sitting on our asses on Earth. That's not how planetary evolution happens, okay? So we're here to evolve and to change the status quo, to change how things, have been going on our planet. We're here to dismantle systems. Like, we're the revolutionaries, you guys. We are the light workers. We're here on mission. This is our time. So yeah, it's uncomfortable, but we got to do the things. So we're here for it. We're showing up for it. So Judy, you're definitely my soul sister. Oh, I love you. Carrie, yeah, it's Pluto. Yeah, that's what, as I was saying, I was like, I remember when I was writing the astrology calendar for Moon Babe Society, and I was like, oh shit, on that day, because it was like, things are crumbling. The only planet that would make things crumble is Pluto. And when it comes to the societal structure, that's Capricorn. Capricorn is symbolic on that, so that would make sense. So you as my soul sister. I love you guys. I want to get clear on the definition of intention. A resolution, I want to be clear. Okay, so intention is like, it's almost, when you make a goal or if you make a resolution, it's almost like it has this, and sometimes it depends on words, right? But it's almost like it's this, there's a date, there's a pole, like marker. It's like this hard energy line that, and if you don't get to the goal or the resolution by that moment, then you're screwed. This is kind of like the energy of it. Does that make sense? When you have an intention is a long running, right? It's something that carries you. It's not a thing that brings you to a stop. An intention carries you. An intention is something that you do with your entire system. It's something that brings you into alignment. For some people, goals or resolutions do the same thing, but an intention is like a higher vibration to where you are in alignment. An intention is in alignment with everything that is you. And so you're putting your effort into, creating a state of being instead of, so intentions are more aligned with your soul. I would say it that way. While goals or resolutions are more like physical things. Okay. Great news, because I've been uncomfortable most of my life. Yeah. Those of us that are used to being uncomfortable, we're like, all right, we can write this. We can work, we can work with this. We can do chaos. Like, let's organize chaos. That's really the attitude that you want to have, right? So it's like, okay, I've done this in my life. I can figure this out, right? Like, I can figure this stuff out. Like, we're going to do this one step at a time. So birthday's tomorrow. Happy birthday. Okay. Thank you for these live feeds. You're welcome, loves. They help so much. I'm so glad, lady. This talk really relates to me today after an awful day I had yesterday. So much happened, bringing up past issues. Yes, doing clearing is important. So I'm glad. See, you don't end up here by mistake, right? There are always like things happening for a reason. So understand that we are in this, like, we're shifting in we're creating new earth. And so it is hard to create a world that doesn't exist, you guys. Like, we came here for a job. When I say that we are, the special forces of the light workers, like, we got to figure this shit out. It's not like it's laid out, I mean, our soul knows the plan, but we have to do the work to like bring it down, to integrate it, and to go and be like, hey, okay, what's the next piece? Hey, what's the next piece? Okay, how do I lay the foundations? Now, how do I do the ground floor, right? Like, I'm gonna need like some systems to be working. Like, it's work. We have to do work. But shit, it's worth it, because do you want to live in the 3D world? I don't think so. That's not a comfortable world at all, And so it's like, plus you just know it inside. Like, it's just not good, right? So these are things that are happening. So with these blasts of energy and what happens with Easter is very symbolic of resurrection. Easter is a holiday that is symbolic of that, which doesn't necessarily mean anything, because a lot of holidays are just very commercialized, these days. But I was really surprised that when I tuned in, because when you start tuning in to what's happening in the vibe of the planet and the vibe of, the universal vibe of what's going on, then you're like, oh shit, it's going down for real. Like, you start to feel what's coming in. And this is the place where we all want to get. You want to get to the point where you wake up in the morning and meditate or whatever you do, and you tune in to the whole vibe of the planet, and okay? And you know what's going on. You know what to do. You know how to get the guidance. You know how to work your energy lines. This is literally the whole reason I created the Metaphysical Mastermind, which is that next level healing course that I'm always talking about now, because, by the way, I'm going to close registration. I think it's going to close on the 22nd. I'm going to announce it today. So somewhere in there, 20th through 22nd, because it's a moon. We have our new moon. So, and because I'm moving at the end of this month, so I can't take any more registrations. I love you guys. I also have things that I have to get done. In the middle of quarantine, I'm moving, which is amazing because things happen. So, my whole intention behind creating the Metaphysical Mastermind is that I want you guys to be so in tune, right? I want to give you all of this knowledge and all of these skills that I've been practicing, where if everything was to fall, right, and you don't know what the hell's going on, and you can't turn on the news, and you don't have your phone, and whatever. When life doesn't make sense anymore, you know exactly what to do to get the guidance that you need to manifest the outer circumstances that you need. That's really what you need, right? Those are the things. Instead of outside in, it's knowing who you are, what to do, what next steps to take with certainty. That's power. Knowing what to do anytime. When, somebody gives you this news and you're like, oh, fuck, right? That ability, generally I'm swearing. Lately, I've just been on a swearing spree. It's the energy of the moment. But when that happens, instead of going down the, now what, kind of thing, you just go, okay, stop, disengage, and you have the tools, right, to move forward and to understand and to know things, to know how to get yourself healthy, to know how to shift to a higher state of mind, to know how to create things, to move forward. And you have all these resources. So that's really, it's kind of it feels like if any of you are parents and you've ever felt that feeling of I want to teach a child how to be self-sufficient and to get ready in the morning so that they know exactly what to do. If I am sick or if I am, unwell or whatever, I know that my kid knows how to get dressed, put their shoes on, wipe their butt, all of those things, knows how to actually do certain things without me doing it for them. It's that kind of feeling. It's I want you to know and to learn all the tools to be self-sufficient. And then once you know all that stuff, you can teach, right, everyone else. And so it's not an accident that everybody in the mastermind already has a healing practice, and these are skills and tools that they're adding, because this is that next level. And when you take care of yourself, when you have that level of knowingness, it doesn't even matter what your practice is, what your meaning what your healing practice or what you're teaching or what your business is, because when you learn how to be guided, how to be in alignment for your own self on that next level, then no matter what it is that you're doing, it's going to work because you're being guided for it, right? You have the energy, you have the tools, you have the knowledge, you have the daily revelation of what to do and the guidance. So then it has to work out. So it's a huge, huge, huge thing. And that's the one thing that I'm really, really behind. So Christina, I think I needed to be in the mastermind. Yes. If you have questions, and that will help everything else. And that's the thing too, is let me know if you have questions, because that's the thing, is once you get into alignment, and you will know if you're meant to be in there. It's a massive course. It's massive energy. It's the mystery school together with the new school of everything that's happening on the planet, right? It's you'll feel it. If you go on that page where I wrote the information, I always say this every time. There's a lot of information, there's a lot of words, and I explain to you my intention. I explain to you specifically the modules. And I guarantee you, if you look at the modules and then we will feel the energy through the days, you know, and the weeks to come, it's going to be like, whoa, that is so on point. That's amazing. And we don't know that yet. We don't feel that yet. But when I was guided to put together the curriculum, it always lines up because I do it in alignment, right? With the energy. Like I am very intentional and very on the path, so it always makes sense. But when you go on the page and you read through it, feel it. Open your heart and feel it, because there's so much information on there and it's so massive. But if it calls you, you will know, because your soul will be like, oh my God, this is what I need right now. And that's how it happens for everybody that has, you know, decided to jump in. It's just like a knowingness, right? And I love that I've received lots of messages from you guys saying, like, you were questioning it. A lot of people question it because it's like, oh my God, should I do this right now? Is it really time for me to do this right now? And then there's a lot of, fuck it, I'm just going to do it because my soul wants it. Doesn't matter what my ego says. So it's been really fun to experience and to witness your processes, right? When the soul calls you. But when you know, you know. And if it doesn't call you, then it's not for you, right? But if you go on there and your soul is like, ha 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 ha, then you know. And that's when you know. Okay. So, all right, loves. Can you please put this on YouTube? Yes, we're going to download it and we're going to upload it on YouTube. Okay. I feel like I did a jumbo ceremony on Easter. It was so cleansing and it felt amazing. Amazing. There's a lot. So on Easter, and these new codes came in. You guys, we now have available to activate the 5th strand of DNA. That's a big deal. That's a big, big deal. We always do things in the astral plane, and then we do them, right? Like we do them energetically, and then we do them physically. There's going to be like, this is going to be quite the shift for a lot of us. So I'm downloading information. Oh, one of the things that happens all the time when you're in my courses, like the mastermind, I will always add bonuses. So I will be doing a meditation for this DNA activation, and it will be a bonus. So everybody that's already registered in the mastermind gets it added for free, because that's just how it goes. So I always add, I never take away. So it's a lot of fun. So we're going to do that. And let's see. Okay, I think I need to be in the mastermind as well. Let me know if you guys have questions. So I'm seeing a lot of you saying this. So you can check it out in the link in my bio. Okay, you can swipe up through my stories. Every so often I put some information about it and you can swipe up, or just go to the link in my bio and then it will say the Metaphysical Mastermind. So click on it and then look at it, and then let me know if you have questions. Okay, all right. A one-on-one would be cool. Absolutely. So I do one-on-ones, and also as a part of the mastermind, everybody does receive a one-on-one. So you get to work with me one-on-one as well as you get to work with me in the group, because it is very important. You are saying, I don't know how to say your name, Chuso Kafati. It sounds like it would be a really cool name if I said it right. Too much healing to do here, empath. Yeah, so empaths, you need to learn how to work with like not picking everybody else's stuff. Okay, and there are ways, because all of us are developing empathic qualities. You have to learn how to protect yourself energetically and how to manage your energy field so that you're not picking up everybody else. But being an empath is like an incredibly powerful superpower, because you actually have access to so much knowingness, right? Because you can tap into the whole field. So once you learn how to sift through what you know, it's kind of like Google. Google is like a lot of information, but if you don't know how to search for the right things, you get a lot of junk. Do you guys know what I'm saying? Like on your results. But when you learn how to actually search and Google like keywords or like different things, it's the same thing as with an empath in like the general field. You learn how to get information, or how to clear through things, or how to help people like with your gifts, like on purpose and on point. It's a lot easier. So Carrie, the mastermind course is awesome. Yay. I love you, Carrie. It really is something. It is amazing. I've been so tired this whole weekend, feeling a lot of anxiety. Is it from the download? So very good question, Savoy. We are experiencing, remember how I was talking about the energy and the basically the pressurizing that's happening in the atmosphere, which is the electromagnetic field of the earth, right? With the Schumann resonance, with all of the blasts from the sun that are happening, which you can literally see in the sun rays. I mean, you look at the sun, you take a picture, you see the sun portals, you see the alignments happening in the sky, like just there's energy waves that are coming in. So that's pushing in on the magnetic sphere of the planet. Well, depending on how that push is interfacing with your aura, which is your energy field around you, depending on how that works and how your aura is working for you as an interface, then you can feel pressurized. And the more pressure, so if it feels like it's crushing you and it's coming in, then you feel like it's anxiety because you feel like, I don't know what's going on, and I feel like all of this stuff. Does that make sense? And so when you're feeling that way and you feel compressed, it's important to expand, to do things that strengthen your light pillar, that strengthen your light, that make you feel tall, claim your power, claim your sovereignty, expand, take room for yourself on the planet. Does that make sense? Like your energy wants to expand, not contract. Okay, we want to create, we want to be out, we want to, which is counterintuitive for a lot of people because a lot of people are like, protect. But when your energy field is strong and you actually take up room, everything is happening in your aura. Your aura is like working through all of these fields of energy that push on it because it acts like a barrier. It acts like a shield that integrates that stuff. So it's very, very helpful, very helpful. And that is where that stuff is coming from. So I will post this after. Yes, you guys. I will download it and we'll upload it on YouTube. So, are you aware of income events on the spiritual realms? I don't know what you mean by income events. Do you mean like financial, like wealth-wise? If you can clarify, I may be able to answer better. Or like, do you mean incoming events and like the energies that are coming? So, Brooke, thank you for giving an in-depth explanation and tuning in. Oh, you are so welcome. I'm so glad that was helpful. Things that will affect our world on a massive level. So yes, I can check into that. I do. And so this is a very good question and it's a very complex answer. Okay. In terms of understanding events that impact the planet, I have learned to not look too far ahead. Why? Everything that manifests on a physical level, which is why, by the way, side note, all of the sages and all of the most knowledgeable people and the masters like Buddha, they say, stay in the now, stay in the now, stay in the now, because reality changes in every right now. So if you look too far ahead, what happens is you're tapping into a future that is predicated upon the present moment of now. Okay, there's different timelines. For every timelines, there's an octave. It's like a pentagram of music. There's literally like 8 lines, okay, that you can like, that moment can go and explode into. So this line is the best case scenario. This line is kind of, right? And then there's the worst case scenario. So for everything, we have 1 minute remaining. So tap into it in the moment of now to get the answer of where we're going. But the answer is yes, you learn to do that stuff. You just have to be careful using those superpowers. Okay, I love you guys. We've talked for an hour. I will download it and upload it to YouTube. Message me if you have questions about the Metaphysical Mastermind. Registration is open for another week or so. Check my stories to know the details. I love you all. This is Sonia G, Moonbabes and the Light Tribe, and you can find me at www.moonbabetribe.com online. I love you all. Mwah. Have a beautiful week ahead. Love you.